league sources say the Kings are among the teams that have interest in Golden State's Jonathan Kuminga and will be monitoring his market when restricted free agency begins. And while it appears unlikely that Kuminga will ultimately come their way, it speaks to the vision and the range of possibilities here, and that they're even focusing on players of that ilk. Miami's name's been brought up a lot for Jonathan Kuminga.
Okay.
And, I think Kuminga wants to move on. I think.
Oh, absolutely.
He doesn't feel like he's got an opportunity. I am still shocked that he was not getting
playing time in the postseason.
Legit playing time. I mean, he was out of the rotation.
Yeah.
It just seems like they have struggled. And it's not to say he hasn't struggled too, but as a young player on a team that has like this championship window, he's trying to navigate this thing and dealing with the expectations in and out of the rotation. He starts for stretches, has brilliant stretches, and then he has some moments.
Yeah.
He needs to go somewhere else.
Absolutely. He needs a change of scenery. He needs to go somewhere. I don't think it's going to work in Golden State unless they can make amends, and somehow it does. But I just don't see that really happening. But what scares me about him, and I don't know if this narrative is true, and that's why it's like, well, I need to see it for myself. Sometimes, when you see complications with a relationship with a player and an organization, you hear different things. And you hear these things sometimes like he doesn't have the right mindset. He doesn't have the right personality of changing his mindset into a different role or coming off the bench and blah, 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 blah. How does he view himself as a 22-year-old,
Yeah, and Anthony Slater just did a piece the other day. He views that he can be an all-star level player at this league. And look, the guy's 22. It's not ridiculous to think that he has that ability because he's got some tools that you're going, dude, are you kidding me?
Definitely has those tools.
6'8", explosive athlete, tremendous.
6'8"?
Yeah, he's a big
I always
dude.
forget he's that big.
Super athletic. Yeah. Finishes above the rim.
Long.
The three-point shooting has never really been consistent. Defensively, you see the moments of
that's
whoa.
Yep. Can block, can steal, can.
Now rebounding has never been great for him,
and that's an effort thing.
That's the thing, and I think those are some of the frustrating things. That's why you go, if you're Miami, you just go, of course, you're going to go to Miami and figure it out there and turn into a stud or something. But going back to Sam's point, the fact that they're interested in this, and I'm like, yeah, this is what we have to remember. And Scott Perry's got a type, and he's trying to build this out. The roster that he has right now is not all that.
Mm-mm.
It's not the two-way guys he wants and all the things that he desires to have. It sucks, but it's going to take him some time to figure this out. And
why do you laugh?
Because I just hate. It's like, all right, Kings fans, you gotta be patient a little bit. And it's like, fuck this word. I am never telling Kings fans to be patient.
But that's what
again.
That's what you have. Sorry, in Sacramento, that's literally going to be the word hopefully every 5 years, right? Hopefully not every 2, like it feels like it has been. But you see how these windows are in the NBA. And then you also see in different organizations how shit is run. It's not only Sacramento. It's so funny because Sacramento, every single year, people want to find a way to shit on the organization, what's going on, no matter what. And that's fine. That's just been their identity over the years. Do your thing, cuties. But then there's so much chaos in some of these other organizations. I mean, the Knicks still don't even have a freaking coach after the year that they had. The Suns are always in this weird spot. And it's we talk about it, but the Kings are the most fun to talk about when shit's not going right, or when they are not seeing success, or when we have to use the patient bomb once again. And it's it sucks.
I just say it because it's just this is, Perry walks into this contract situation is what it is. Even with someone like Kuminga, they can't just sign Kuminga to an offer sheet. It would have to be a sign and trade. And so that's where it gets complicated. How would you execute a sign and trade with the Warriors? What would they want from Sacramento to make this deal happen? If Kuminga was interested in coming to Sacramento, I mean, Malik Monk? Would it be painful to trade Malik Monk in a sign and trade to get Kuminga, and you've got Malik out there with Steph? And
I mean, yeah, that would suck. Yeah, I mean, it's never fun seeing these former players, former Kings players, go over to the Golden State Warriors and find success. It's never fun. But at the same time, sometimes it's if you don't see a future with someone like Malik Monk, then make your changes.
Well,
Do
I
what
think
you
this is
gotta
what's
do.
tough with the Kings too, and that's why you've seen Monk's name in rumors. It's like he's one of their assets that's got a good contract. He's a good player,
Yep.
and you've got all these guards, and you're going, I have to tweak this team. And Levine's not really. You're not going to get anything of value from Levine if you moved him right now.
No.
And it's just the reality. I mean, it was hard enough for Chicago to trade him, right? And then Sacramento.
Kings
did.
could have literally gotten
It's just his contract. So I mean, if Levine was making Monk money, we'd be having a different conversation right now. But when you start talking about guys in that 45, 48 million range, and they don't talk, they can't do all the things that we've talked about.
or they're producing numbers that look good but not winning basketball.
Yeah, and I think that's tough, right?
Yeah.
So unless it turns into an expiring deal, it
Yes.
changes things. But he's got years left on that deal. So Monk may be a player that I feel like there's enough smoke. I would be shocked if we go into next season and Malik Monk, DeMar DeRozan, Levine, all those guys are all back on the right. Like one of those guys is going to be gone.
I see. Okay.
Minimum.
Yeah.
Minimum. And I think I love Malik, and it's going to pain me because I think he's one of my favorite Kings, and I think it's going to hurt the fans a lot because he loved it here. He loves it here. He part of some amazing moments, but you have to just be real about like
what your team is
Yeah.
and what assets you have. And trading for the most that you can trade, especially when their value is high. He's not injured and all these stuff. Yeah, it sucks even talking about, but it's when the team is what it is, you look at everything.
Yeah.
Every
So,
single player.
I do feel like if there was a sign and trade with Golden State, I do feel like Malik would be the one that makes most sense. DeMar, you go, and it would have to be Malik and more probably to match up the salary. But like someone like DeMar, I'm like, I just don't see it with Golden State. It's like they've got Jimmy, they've got stuff. I mean, I guess unless they just go all in on like, hey, let's just go with guys that are like 35 and older. Like we're going to be the first team in NBA history where our like top 8 are like 35 and older. And we'll just figure it out. I mean, they're not going to do that. Is my point. You know what I mean?
No.
Someone else was talking about our Discord. I had an idea, 4916er. His idea was like, what about a 3-team trade with Miami, Golden State, and Sacramento?
Okay.
And yeah, Kuminga coming to Sac. This again, there's probably more that has to happen.
sure.
Kuminga coming to Sac.
Okay.
DeMar going to Miami.
Okay.
Wiggins going back to Golden State.
No. Why would Golden State do
I
that?
think they like Wiggins, and he has a lot of success there. I remember after the trade happened, you could tell like Kerr was shook off of it. Like it was emotional because of what Wiggins has gone through the last couple of years, what he meant to that championship team. I don't see that as likely. I got to be honest. I don't see Miami going, hey, dude, I know we lost out on KD. Let's go get DeMar.
Yeah.
And it's not that DeMar is a bad player. It's just like, okay, like, what's that do for Miami in the East?
In the East, and that's it. Especially when the East feels like, hey, everything's wide open. Everyone feels like they ruptured their Achilles over here, wearing 0 on their jersey. Which how weird was that? The 0 on the jerseys of Damian Lillard,
Tyrese and
Tatum.
Yeah,
I saw that online.
That's
And I was
crazy.
like, oh my god. But yeah, the East being wide open and wanting to take the correct swing with the correct pieces. DeMar DeRozan, that's the same line we use all the time. He can get you a bucket. He can get you a bucket.
Yeah.
I mean, how many nights did he save the Sacramento Kings and get them a dub at the end of the game? But how many nights too was his style of play not necessarily what you needed to see for this team that wanted to play with tempo and play with so much more pace and everything. So it just depends on what you're trying to do as a team with your identity. He is a veteran. He brings leadership. He brings shot making to the highest of high levels.
I would love to get in on the Kuminga action. And it's not even that I'm convinced he's going to be a star, but there again, you talk about the hope and you go, he's 22, 23 years old. Get him for a few years. Like what's the worst that can happen? Like
What's the worst that could happen?
Maybe he gets put in a role and gets more opportunity where he shines more because he's not like dealing with like the Steph dynamic and like Draymond. Like there's so much going on. And then adding Jimmy. I remember after the trade, I said Kuminga had been playing well and then he got hurt. And it was like, all right, what's it going to look like when Kuminga returns with Jimmy there? And it was a struggle. And so I think he needs to go elsewhere. I'm sure his people are probably like, hey, obviously let's get money. But like Miami probably is like, hey, just from their reputation. Like Sacramento doesn't have a good reputation on that front. But, if Scott Perry can get in a room with Kuminga's people and it's like sell him on the fact that like this is the direction we're going. We believe in you. We're going to trust that you can elevate your game and do the things that we want to do as a team.
Yeah.
I mean, I start envisioning this and I'm like, God, dude, if you just envision a lineup at times that's got a Kuminga out there with Keegan, Neek, Keon. I don't know if Devin's still in the mix. You're like, dude, there's some athleticism, there's versatility, there's
so much perimeter pressure. You don't even need a rim protector.
So I'm just saying it's intriguing. It's different. I'm not saying it's, oh my God, they figured it out. But as you're trying to build this out, I'm like, you could do worse in that situation. So I don't know. I don't think Kuminga, I'd be surprised if he ends up in Sacramento. But dude, I'm for it. Take a hack at that. Those are the gambles I like. Don't take a gamble on like a 33-year-old who's coming off like a ruptured Achilles or something. You know what I mean? I just made that up. I don't even know who that would be.
I know, but I know. You're right. Who would that be?
So, yeah, it's going to be fascinating to see what the Kings do coming up here.